Voted best weather coverage by the Georgia Association of Broadcasters. From the station that's on your side, this is News 12, First at 5.
Celebrating the life of longtime Aiken Mayor Fred Kavanaugh as wreaths are laid. Those who knew him share his legacy that he leaves behind. But first at 5, a new strain of the COVID Omicron variant is taking over in the United States. A subvariant named XBB 1.5 is the cause for about 40% of confirmed U.S. COVID cases. That's up from 20% a week ago. Experts say there's no indication this variant causes more severe illness than any other Omicron variant. Lab studies have found that XBB is capable of getting past antibodies from previous COVID infections or vaccinations, meaning exposure could lead to someone getting sick or reinfected. Here at home, doctors tell us that they're starting to see a rise in COVID numbers. News 12's Taylor Martin found out those numbers have one hospital changing the way it operates. Taylor joins us now from the newsroom. Taylor, what kind of numbers are they seeing that could make them change protocol?
Doctors at Augusta University say COVID is back on the rise, and they are seeing an increase of almost 100% in hospitalizations. Now, of course, that increase is still significantly lower than what we saw at the height of the pandemic. They also say RSV numbers have dropped significantly over the past month, but unfortunately, COVID has seemed to take its place. As holiday gatherings wrap up, doctors at Augusta University say they are seeing a huge increase in COVID patients. The increase now requires the hospital to limit the amount of people coming in and reinforce COVID protocol for visitors, like wearing masks. I spoke with Dr. Jose Vasquez about how the numbers have changed in such a short period of time.
What has changed over the past 2 weeks is an increase of about 150% in COVID patients. 15% of our tests are now positive, where before it was unusual.
All new on News 12 at 6 o'clock. I'll have more for you about the rising rates of COVID and another virus doctors say you should be on the lookout for.
Okay, thanks for that, Taylor. The city of Aiken honored former Mayor Fred Kavanaugh in a ceremony today. He died last week. Kavanaugh served as mayor for 24 years before retiring in 2015. And you can see it was a packed service at Teague Park as people came out to honor Kavanaugh. While he wasn't born locally, his roots run very deep in Aiken. He was a part of the Aiken High's first graduating class in 1955 and served on the Aiken City Council as far back as 1985. Kavanaugh even had his own statue downtown. Governor Henry McMaster says flags will be at half-staff across the state Wednesday to remember Kavanaugh. Turning now to weather, taking a live look outside at Grovetown.
Coming up in about 10 minutes. Will, back over to you.
Thanks, Anthony. An Aiken County woman in her 60s is recovering after investigators say that she was found unconscious at Langley Pond. Aiken County deputies found her yesterday morning lying next to her vehicle, unconscious with severe injuries. She was sent to the hospital and is in critical condition. We're working to get more information from the Aiken County Sheriff's Office. And one person was shot multiple times this afternoon in Johnston. It happened here along Johnson Street in the town of Johnston at around lunchtime. According to the Johnston Assistant Police Chief, there were 2 suspects. At this point, we're still working to find out if those suspects are in custody. And the suspect in the killing of 4 University of Idaho students plans to waive his extradition at a hearing this week in his home state of Pennsylvania. That may expedite his return to Idaho. Isabel Rosales spoke with someone who knows the suspect.
Nearly 7 weeks since the stabbing deaths of 4 young students rocked their college community in Idaho, the suspect, 28-year-old Brian Koberger, is facing 4 counts of first-degree murder.
It was just like totally jarring, totally shocking to realize that this person that had been, kind of raiding my papers was, allegedly this like horrible murderer.
The suspect's behavior seemed to take a turnaround during the time of the murders. That's according to an undergraduate student at Washington State University, where Koberger was a PhD student. He says Koberger looked and acted differently in class.
He had like a little bit more facial hair, just like stubble, but definitely less like well kept than he was. Where it was like, he didn't really want to be there. That was at like an all-time high, and he just, didn't look like he was doing great.
Investigators say they received a flood of calls, more than 400, within an hour of announcing an arrest in the case. Authorities still have not publicly confirmed a possible motive or if the suspect knew the victims. An FBI team surveilled Koberger for days during a cross-country trip back home with his father around Christmas.
He's doing okay. He's shocked a little bit.
Koberger's attorney emphasizing his client should be presumed innocent until proven otherwise. Words echoed by Koberger's family, who say they have fully cooperated with law enforcement. Writing in a statement, "We care deeply for the 4 families who have lost their precious children. There are no words that can adequately express the sadness we feel." I'm Isabel Rosales reporting. And police in Moscow, Idaho, haven't found the murder weapon. They say state law limits what information can be released until Koberger makes his first appearance in an Idaho court. Former Pope Benedict, New Year's resolutions for ourselves, but have you ever thought about setting one for your child? Coming up, how you can help your child come up with a plan in the new year, and then Anthony sticking with it. That's the best part.
Gotta stick with those resolutions for sure. All right, we'll take you a look outside over Grovetown and I-20. Nice and sunny right now, but we are tracking the potential for some showers and storms by tomorrow night. The full forecast for you coming up next. Well, thousands of Californians are starting the first week of 2023 without power, and others are under evacuation orders. It comes after a deadly storm hammered the state with historic rain, heavy snow, and life-threatening flooding that shut down major highways. At least 2 people have died there. Several others had to be rescued. So some uncharacteristic weather. Thankfully, here in the CSRA, we're starting out 2023 with some very beautiful, very nice weather. Yeah, right now we're seeing lots of those warmer temperatures. 73 is what we next few days. Once we get past Wednesday, we're talking about clearing skies and cooling temperatures back down to the 50s to right around 60 degrees between Saturday and Sunday. Mostly sunny for the upcoming weekend and cooler morning temperatures in the 30s.
All right, thanks, Anthony. Adults aren't the only ones that can make New Year's resolutions. It's a great time of year for kids to also form good habits for 2023. Bradley Blackburn, explains how to help set goals and stick with them.
Wendy Severino and her daughters are making New Year's resolutions for the first time.
Spend more time together as a family, have dinner together 3 to 4 days without cell phones on the table.
And the girls?
I really just want to keep my grades up since I just entered high school.
Instead of scrolling through TikTok or any other apps, we could do something more productive.
Pediatrician Dr. Steph Lee says setting goals is important for children. Resolutions can help kids make good decisions, build self-confidence, and improve troubleshooting skills.
Especially if they have trouble with reaching their New Year's resolutions, then you can help them figure out how to adapt and persevere in order to reach their goals.
Some ideas from the American Academy of Pediatrics for preschoolers: cleaning up toys by putting them where they belong or trying new foods, especially different colors of vegetables. For kids 5 to 12, drinking water every day and keeping soda and fruit drinks only for special times, or trying to find a new physical activity or sport, and doing it at least 3 times a week. And for teens, trying to get 8 to 10 hours of sleep and resisting peer pressure to try cigarettes, e-cigarettes, drugs, or alcohol.
Make sure you try to encourage sticking to your goals, making sure to write them down somewhere so they're physically visible. Also, making sure that they're actually achievable.
These sisters are hopeful.
I think we can, with the motivation of our parents, we
stick together.
Yeah.
Get through it together.
Setting goals and bonding as a family. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
And setting goals is always important, but sticking with them, that's a different story for a lot of people. But for adults, getting your finances in order may be a New Year's resolution for you. That could mean less time in stores and more time balancing your bank account. Coming up, we hear from the experts on how to stay on track with your money this year.
Injury lawyers at all nines. That's 999-9999.
Fixing your finances is often at the top of the list when it comes to New Year's resolutions. In this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Rachel Tapapa is going to take a look at that and a way to stay on track in 2023.
Making a money resolution and keeping it are 2 very different things. It is hard to stay on track. A lot of us give up our New Year's resolutions by June. Denitha Doe, the creator of Money and Mimosas, says there are 3 steps you can take to keep your money resolution realistic and attainable. First,
She says, pick one money goal to achieve this year, just one. Is it save more, invest more, pay down debt? And if so, how much? Write it down. One tangible goal you want to hit in 2023. Doe says, then you want to do a money clarity exercise.
This is where you write down all of your expenses, all of your debts, your income, your assets, and really figure out where you stand today. Then compare that to where you want to be at the end of the year. That gap between where you are today and where you want to be, that's the work that needs to be done over this year.
She says, and finally, know your why. There are times when you will feel discouraged. You may have a setback. Knowing the reason why you are striving for that goal keeps you motivated and will help you push through. With this, watching your wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
And even with that extra cash in your pocket, it might not be enough for a fancy dinner date. A survey funded by a number of dating platforms shows 84% of singles prefer a casual first date to save money, and 30% say they are now more open to doing free activities. According to the study, the high cost of dining out and changes to dating habits during the pandemic, like walks and picnics, are driving the shift. A social media craze is creating serious problems for people with diabetes. Drugs like Ozempic and Trulicity are flying off the shelves after gaining popularity for weight loss. Even though it's not FDA approved for non-diabetic people to lose weight, the drugs have become harder to find over the last several months, even for patients with type 2 diabetes.
It's been a crazy storm of we don't have the drug, people with diabetes are increasing, and people now are trying it for weight loss. I do think it's going to get better. I think manufacturing levels will go back up.
The medication manufacturers say that they're aware of the shortages and expect it to continue through the month of January. It also says they do not promote or encourage off-label use of the medicine. Multiple reports show popular smart toys could be collecting data on you and your children. Things like voice assistant devices collect data, and now some of that is being sold to advertisers. Many terms and conditions allow for collections of anonymous information on children and can even make transcripts of what children say. Public advocacy groups say that the collection is unnecessary and even unsafe, and one privacy group is calling on the FTC to take action. And Prince Harry is sitting down with reporters to discuss his upcoming memoir, Spare. The British royal is expected to go into detail about his childhood, the loss of his mother, and his new life living in the U.S. In an interview with British network ITV, the Duke of Sussex says that he wants a family, not an institution. Harry also sat down with Anderson Cooper for CBS's 60 Minutes. In a clip from the interview, Harry explains how he's tried to keep conversations with his family private, but leaks to journalists have made them public.
There's a lot of complaining and a lot of explaining. And private being done through leaks.
Through leaks. They will feed or have a conversation with the correspondent, and that correspondent will literally be spoon-fed information and write the story. And then the bottom of it, they will say that they've reached out to Buckingham Palace for comment. But the whole story is Buckingham Palace commenting. So when we're being told for the last 6 years, we can't put a statement out to protect you, but you do it for other members of the family, there becomes a point when silence is betrayal.
And Prince Harry's new memoir, Spare, releases next week. Anthony?
All right, well, as we go through the next couple of hours, we're going to be staying on the sunnier side, patchy fog for tomorrow morning. Then the storms will be rolling in for tomorrow night. We'll break down the timeline one more time when we come back.